It'll be great. Okay, ignore that. Welcome to Life on the Moose. What are we, in some sort of time warp here or something? I mean, the last episode, I was wearing a t-shirt, we had no snow on the ground, and I was building a different cabin. What the heck? I wanted to bring you up to the ridge cabin so I can show you what we're going to do today on the spur cabin. For siding on the spur cabin, we're going to do something similar to what you see here. We are going to use the Doug fir lap siding, and I'll go into more detail on that when we put that up. But for today, we're going to tackle the steel. Obviously, this is black, different color. Concept is the same. Panel of steel, they're 3 feet wide. These, I think, are, I want to say 36 inches tall. The ones on the spur cabin, they're 40 inches exactly. And above these panels, you will see this little piece of trim right here, a little flashing. So I have the flashing. It is galvanized, so I'm going to paint it. I'm going to paint it green. Before we head over to the spur cabin, I wanted to share some good news with you. You probably know I'm a new channel. I've been doing this for less than a year. I've been teasing you about having sponsorships the whole time. Well, it finally happened on this episode. I've had several companies reach out to me over the last few months, wanting to do a brand deal or something to that nature. And I've turned them all down, except for one. And I'm excited about this. Let me show you. Today's video, sponsored by AG1. How cool is that? Have you tried AG1 yet? You should. AG1 is a foundational nutritional beverage. I drink it every day now as part of a super simple, easy routine. Since I've been drinking AG1, I noticed that my energy throughout the day, much higher than normal. I drink less coffee in the morning. I don't have a crash at 3, 4 in the afternoon like I had almost all of my adult life. That is completely gone now, and that's pretty amazing for me. AG1, overall gut health, supports the immune system. One reason I say this is an effortless daily habit is because it's effortless. Super easy to mix up. One level scoop, and they give you a metal scoop. A metal scoop in 8 ounces of water. Then just shake it up. That's it. The best thing about this, it tastes great. This doesn't just taste good for a green drink. This tastes good for anything. You should check out AG1 today. Just click on the link in the description below and you'll receive a 1-year free supply of D3, K2, and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. You won't regret it. So thanks AG1 for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to work. Okay, back at the spur cabin. Check out that snow. Is that crazy or what? Look at that. It's practically a winter wonderland out there. But it's about 40 degrees. Not too bad. The sun is shining, obviously. Feels good. So let's get to work. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to snap a line at the height of that steel where I want it to go. And it's going to overhang the bottom of the sheathing. It's going to go past the sheathing maybe 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. So since it's nice and warm in the cabin right now with the sun shining, I might take a break in a little bit and spray paint that flashing I was telling you about earlier. That's going to go on top of the steel and underneath the wood siding that we're going to put on the top half of the building. All right, well, let's get that line snapped and get some steel hung. not pre-drilled this yet. I may do that. We'll see how this one goes up. Okay, I'm gonna have a piece of corner trim that'll go around this corner, and it has one of the ridges will go over this ridge right here, so it'll be completely watertight once this corner's on and once this top flashing is on. I might go ahead and pre-drill these really to establish a straight line for my screws as much as anything. These are self-tapping, as I mentioned on the roof video, and they go in pretty easily. Made a decision. I'm gonna go ahead and pre-drill these. Like I said, because I want a nice straight line with my screw heads. I don't know, it just looks better that way. This edge right here that does not have a flat surface, like this one does, this one goes on top. It overlaps the flat one. I've had a couple people question that, which is fine. You should question everything as far as I'm concerned. Most manufacturers that I've heard weigh in on this say, yeah, put this edge over the other one. So that's what I'm gonna do. The prevailing wind comes from that direction, which is why I want my flap to go over this way so that the wind can blow past it and not blow it up. You okay over there? Okay. Let's check it. Okay, this is what we have left on this side. It's just over 10 inches. So what I'm going to do, instead of cutting a whole piece that I have just the thing. Here, I'll show you. I don't know if you remember on the roof, but I had to cut a little bit off the far end sheet, and that is right here. And that has more than one whole section right there. So I'm just going to cut a 40-inch length out of that and cut it to size, and it'll be just fine. Okay, we have 12 feet exactly on this side, 3 feet coverage on these panels. 4 will do it perfectly, so we shouldn't have to cut anything on this side at all. Should go pretty quick. I hope. Sun's going down. Okay, let's get to work. Making headway, half finished with it. So tomorrow morning, we'll finish the rest of it. We'll spray paint that flashing I was talking about, and we'll get this part finished up. Making progress. Look at that. It's starting to look like something. Holy cow. Well, I'm gonna head back to Red Moose Ranch, get warmed up. I can't believe there's snow on the ground. I thought it would all melt away today for sure, but not so lucky. Okay, well, that's it for me for today. Stay right there, don't move. Your job is not finished. Good morning. Thanks for sticking around. It's a cold morning, I tell you that. It was 19 degrees this morning when I left Red Moose Ranch. So I think it's 21 degrees if I remember what I saw in the truck. But even though it's 21 degrees, the sun is shining. So maybe we can get going on this side of the building while we still have a little bit of sun shining on it. I don't know if you can see, but the snow is melting on the roof, which is always a good sign, even though it's barely 20 degrees. That sun makes all the difference in the world. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna heat the inside of this up so I can paint that flashing I was talking about. Here, let me show you. With the sun shining in the windows, it gets pretty warm in here, I should say. It's obviously pretty chilly in here right now. This is the flashing. I was talking about that it's gonna go over the top of that steel and this part underneath the wood siding that I'm gonna put on. So what I did is I put let me see that little Mr. Heater back there. It is heating up these pieces of metal, and hopefully in about an hour, they'll be warm enough I can take them outside quickly and paint them. The paint itself I kept in the cabin on the heater overnight, so that's very warm. So let's see if this works. I really would like to get this stuff up today as well. Let's get some siding on that sunny side. Well, one more side finished. This was my short one right here. This particular panel only goes from this rib to this rib. And the rest of that piece, I'm going to use over here on the other side of the door. Right here. But because I used 2 ribs on the other one, I'm left without a rib on this side. But this is my corner piece. This is my corner trim piece right here. So it'll be just fine even though there's not a rib at the very end of this one. What I'm going to do is take this edge and take about a 1/2 inch of it and just bend it up so it's sticking out from the building. That way this little flange will encapsulate that and keep the rain out. That is 6 feet right there. 2 panels exactly. We're golden. Get these 2 up and then we can start putting that corner trim on. What a day. Okay, before I get going on those corners, I am going to paint these. It's above freezing, that's about all I know. These are a little bit warmer than they were. The metal is really warm in the sun because it's darker probably. But I'm going to put some paint on here, and I think it'll be okay by the time we need it. If not, we'll hit it in another episode or something. All right, the green I have is a little bit brighter green than what's on the walls. And I don't have the right paint to match exactly. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to muddle black paint on there first and then lightly spray the green on there. And I think it'll be close enough. It'll be great. All right, have them all painted. It's pretty close. I'm pretty happy with it. Ended up doing a light black, followed by the green, and then another light black on top of that. Worked out okay. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm gonna put these up before I put the corners up. That way I have something to tuck my corners into, if that makes sense. So let's start with the long pieces and get them on the wall. I'm just using the 2-inch roofing nails. Nice flat, thin head. I have plenty of this stuff, so I'm going to overlap this. In this case, I'm going to overlap it about a foot, just to make sure I capture the stud right here. Kind of in the shadows here. Hopefully you can see this. So this piece isn't attached yet. So I'm marking the long piece on the outside edge of this piece. And then I'm also going to cut back the top of this one and then extend the bottom piece all the way out to the outside edge of the extended piece. Is that all crystal clear? So I'm gonna cut that right there straight across. This top flap is going to bend over the other corner, so I'm going to cut that right at the bend. Bend it around the corner like that. Okay, ignore that. So I'm going to match up the outside corners here, and I'm going to make the same cut along this bend right here. So I made my cut. So I'm going to nail this one on over here before I start bending stuff, just so it's held in place while I work with it. Okay, the outside corners are matched up. So now I'm going to take this piece, bend it over that way. Yeah, I'm gonna sink one more nail in there just to hold that down. Main thing is I want to get caulk in the very inside corner. That's the one hole we have in the thing. Other than that, everything is physically overlapped, but we'll get caulk in there when it's warm enough. I'm not sure it's going to be today. Okay, let's finish nailing this one in and get going on this side. flashing is all on. Looks pretty good. In some light, it looks a little blacker than it should. Other light, it looks great. I'm happy with it. Since this metal was warm to the touch, I decided to go ahead and caulk it. In fact, it's already starting to dry. I'll touch up paint that when it's totally dry. All right, on to the corners. I'm using the longer screws for this application. Got several layers of metal to go through. Well, that's it. Steel's on, flashing's on, the corners are on. I'm happy with it. I like the look of the steel. It's great for, if snow is ever packed up against it or something on fire rolled up against it. Nice to have the steel there. I like it a lot. You ever put up steel in a building? Curious to know. All right, the spot under the door, we're gonna have a stoop there. Just probably a 3x3 and then one step to get to that. So that's why I did not put the steel underneath the door. Several of you asked why not make the awning a little longer and then have that a front porch. I thought about it, we thought about it, but it kind of opens up a can of worms when it comes to local permits. Changes the footprint. This is the maximum footprint I can go right now without getting a permit on it. I really don't want to throw a wrench in the works and raise any red flags or anything like that. We got to trim out the corners and trim out the windows also real soon, because I can't really put up the siding, the horizontal lap siding. I can't put that up until everything is trimmed out, because it's going to butt up against all of the trim. Okay, well that's it. It's windy out here. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Come back next week. We'll have more fun than you could possibly imagine. Take care. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for subscribing and watching today and tuning in next week, hopefully. All right, we'll see you soon.